There's a strange moment every man experiences, that instant when he realizes that no matter how many words he says, they never seem to reach her heart. You text, you call, you explain, but it feels like your message hits a wall made of silence. She listens, she smiles, yet somehow she's far away. Most men panic at that point. They start trying harder, more attention, more talking, more proving. But here's the shocking truth. The more effort you use to convince her, the less emotionally connected she feels. Because emotional connection isn't built by force. It's built by presence. And the Stoics understood this centuries before psychology even had a name. You see, the Stoic man doesn't chase validation. He doesn't beg for attention. He stands calm, rooted, steady like a mountain that doesn't bend to every passing storm. That stability, that quiet confidence, is what a woman feels as emotional safety. By an emotional safety, my friend, care is the foundation of deep connection. Let's go deeper. Every woman, no matter how independent or confident, carries a hidden question in her heart. Can I be myself with this man without being judged, controlled, or dismissed? If her mind answers yes, she opens emotionally. If the answer is no, she builds invisible walls. So how do you make her feel that yes? The Stoic answer is simple but powerful. You control what you radiate, not what you receive. When you stop trying to get emotion from her, and instead become the emotion peace, patience, confidence, she naturally synchronizes with that state. Think about it. We've all felt this energy before. You walk into a room, and someone's calm presence instantly changes your mood. They don't have to speak. You just feel grounded around them. That's Stoic psychology in action. Emotional connection isn't about finding the right words. It's about creating the right space. When your energy says, I'm not here to take, I'm here to understand, she feels it. But here's where most men go wrong. They confuse calmness with distance. Stoicism doesn't mean coldness. It means controlled warmth. A Stoic man listens more than he speaks. But when he speaks, every word carries intention. Doesn't rush to fill silence because he knows silence can be magnetic. Try this simple exercise. The next time you're with her, don't talk. Don't try to impress. Just observe. Watch how she moves, how she breathes, what topics make her eyes light up. Instead of reacting, reflect. That small shift changes everything. Because when you observe without judging, she feels seen, not analyzed. This is where true intimacy begins, not in touch, not in talk, but in presence. Psychologists call this attunement. Stoics call it virtue in action. It's the ability to align your inner calm with the emotions of the moment. When she's sad, you don't rush to fix it. You simply be there. When she's excited, you celebrate without taking the spotlight. When she's quiet, you honor that quietness. That emotional intelligence is magnetic. Because while most men try to impress women with words, a Stoic man impresses them with peace. Now, let's talk about something uncomfortable. insecurity. Most men lose emotional connection because they let insecurity run their action. They think, what if she doesn't like me anymore? What if she finds someone better? Those thoughts leak through your tone, your behavior, your eyes. A woman senses that fear and instinctively withdraws. Stoicism teaches that you cannot control outcomes, only actions. When you let go of trying to control her reactions, your energy shifts from needy to grounded. And paradoxically, that's when she begins to feel more drawn to you. Imagine this. Two men compliment her. One says, "You're so beautiful. Please don't ever change." The other says, "You look radiant today. Something about your energy feels calm." Which one feels deeper? By the second, because it reflects awareness, not attachment. It shows you see her, not just her looks. That's the Stoic difference. Emotional intelligence over emotional impulse. Now, you might be wondering, but how do I express interest without sounding weak? Here's the trick: you express through intent. Not need. Say things like, "I enjoy spending time with you. You have a calming energy. I respect how you handle things." It's rare to see that kind of composure. These are compliments of depth. They connect to her essence, not her ego. And that's what Stoic men do. They connect essence to essence. But here's the shocking paradox. When you stop trying to connect, the connection grows stronger. Why? Because you've removed pressure. Pressure kills emotional flow. Peace revives it. In Stoic psychology, attraction isn't about pursuit. It's about alignment. Do you attract what resonates with your emotional frequency? If you're chaotic, you attract chaos. If you're calm, you attract calm. Let's go even deeper into the psychological core of connection. Women don't bond through logic. They bond through emotional synchronization. When she feels that you understand her emotions without her having to explain them, she feels safe. And safety is the bridge to emotional intimacy. But here's the hard part. You can't fake this. Emotional awareness comes from your own self-awareness. If you haven't faced your fears, your insecurities, your ego, you can't truly understand hers. That's why the Stoics said, "No man is free until he masters himself." Your emotional connection with others will never exceed your emotional connection with yourself. So, if you want her to open up, start by opening up with yourself. Ask, what do I fear in relationships? Where do I seek validation? What makes me reactive? Write the answers down. Because every unhealed emotion within you becomes a barrier between you and her. Once you see those barriers clearly, you stop projecting them. And suddenly, your presence feels lighter, safer, more inviting. That's the moment a woman senses, often without words. This man can hold space for me. And that, my friend, is the deepest form of intimacy, emotional safety built on Stoic strength. It's not about control. It's not about tricks. It's about emotional mastery. Now, before we move to the next part, let's end this one with a challenge. Next time you talk to her, don't try to win her over. Just listen deeply. Listen to understand, not to reply. Notice how that small act changes the entire energy between you. She feels it, even if she can't explain it, because Stoic connection isn't about what you say. It's about the peace she feels when she's around you. When you finally learn how to stay calm in the presence of someone you desire, you begin to see a truth that changes everything. Connection is not built through what you say. It's built through what your silence teaches her about you. The more peace you carry, the more she opens up. She starts to feel that she doesn't need to hide her true self, because your presence doesn't judge, doesn't rush, and doesn't demand. It simply receives. That's when she begins to trust you, not the kind of trust that is spoken about, but the kind that is felt. She starts to mirror your calmness, your steadiness, and in that stillness, something powerful happens. Her emotional guard drops. You don't have to chase her heart anymore, because it comes toward you naturally. That is the Stoic paradox of love. When you stop trying to control what isn't yours, it starts moving toward you as if it always belonged there. Most men try to build connection through performance. They talk, they promise, they impress, but she doesn't remember what you said. She remembers how she felt in the quiet spaces between your words. That's the space where real intimacy grows, not physical intimacy, but emotional closeness, the feeling that she is understood without having to explain herself. The Stoic man understands this subtle language. He doesn't fill every silence. He lets it breathe until it becomes comfort instead of tension. Every time you respond with patience instead of irritation, you build something invisible but unbreakable. You teach her that you won't fall apart when she's emotional, that you won't disappear when she's distant, that your mood isn't determined by her storms. That reliability makes her respect you. It makes her trust the man behind the calm eyes. Because in a world full of noise, the one who listens quietly becomes unforgettable. But don't mistake calmness for indifference. Stoic stillness is not cold. It's warm discipline. You care deeply, but you choose how to show it. You don't argue for attention. You don't beg for validation. And you don't use emotion to manipulate. You stand firm in who you are. And that stability creates a sense of safety no words can replace. She feels it before she even understands it. It's the invisible force of emotional leadership, the energy that says, I can hold space for both of us without losing myself. Every time she opens up and you simply listen, you create a small miracle. You make her feel seen in a way most people never do. She doesn't need your solutions. She needs your calm understanding. That's what builds emotional connection faster than any compliment, gift, or sweet talk. Because you're not trying to fix her. You're trying to understand her. And that's rare. That's what Stoicism looks like in modern love. It's not about suppressing emotion. It's about creating peace in the middle of it. Sometimes she tests that peace. She tries to see if your calmness is real or just a mask. Don't react. Tests are not attacks. By their invitations to prove your stability. The moment you become defensive, you lose that test. But when you stay calm, grounded, and quietly amused, She sees that your strength isn't performance, it's practice. And that's when admiration begins to replace curiosity. Every woman desires emotional certainty, even when she can't say it. She wants to know that you won't collapse when things get difficult, that you won't become silent out of punishment, but quiet out of wisdom. The man who can stay kind during chaos creates emotional gravity. She keeps coming back because it feels different from everything else. It feels like home. But here's a secret most men miss. Connection is not about how much time you spend together. It's about the quality of presence you bring when you're there. You can spend hours with someone and feel nothing, or spend a few minutes with full awareness and create a bond that feels eternal. That's the art of mindful connection. The Stoic man knows that every interaction is a reflection of his inner state. If his mind is scattered, his energy feels distant. If his mind is present, his energy feels magnetic. When you are fully present, time slows down. You notice her tone, her eyes, the pauses between her words. You begin to see what she's not saying, and you respond to that with empathy instead of reaction. That level of awareness doesn't come from technique, it comes from inner peace. You can't fake peace. You either have it or you chase it. And the moment you chase it, it disappears. Women don't want perfect men. They want emotionally consistent ones. You can be strong and still gentle. You can be disciplined and still kind. You can have boundaries without being cold. That's what Stoic balance looks like. It's the perfect mix of logic and empathy, of reason and heart. It's the ability to feel everything without losing control to anything. And sometimes connection deepens in silence, when you don't say a word but your presence speaks for you. When your eyes say, "I understand," without a single sentence being spoken. That's when the bond moves from surface to soul. That's when she stops trying to impress you and starts showing you who she truly is. And once that happens, your connection has entered sacred territory, something rare, something that doesn't fade with time. You don't need to rush love. You just need to remain still enough for it to find you. The Stoic doesn't chase moments. He lets them unfold. He knows that anything forced loses its natural beauty. So, instead of trying to make her love you, you focus on becoming a man who is easy to love. Till you refine your energy, your patience, your discipline, and your peace. That transformation is magnetic. It doesn't demand attention. It attracts it effortlessly. The more you master yourself, the deeper your connections become. Because the world doesn't trust words anymore, it trusts energy. And when your energy radiates calm assurance, it becomes impossible to ignore. You'll notice people begin to confide in you more, trust you faster, and feel drawn to your simplicity. That's not luck. That's the Stoic aura working in silence. In the end, building deep emotional connection is not about strategies or tricks. It's about being so at peace with yourself that others feel peace just by being near you. It's about holding your power so gently that no one feels controlled but everyone feels guided. It's about making her realize that she doesn't have to perform for your attention, because your attention is already full of understanding. When you reach that point, something extraordinary happens. Conversations become effortless. Conflicts become lessons instead of battles. Silence becomes comfortable instead of awkward. And even when you're apart, the connection doesn't fade, it lingers. Because it's built on authenticity, not intensity. So stop asking, how can I make her connect with me? And start asking, how can I make her feel safe in my presence? Because that's the true psychological trick. Safety creates trust. Trust creates vulnerability. And vulnerability creates connection. Everything else is just noise. Remember, the calmest man in the room always has the most influence. Be that man. Not because you want to impress her, but because peace is your natural state. Let your silence be louder than your words. Let your discipline be more attractive than your desire. And let your presence remind her of what stillness feels like in a world that forgot how to breathe. That's Stoic psychology at its highest form, not manipulation, but mastery. Not performance, but presence. Not control, but calmness. You don't force emotional connection. You become the kind of man who creates it naturally. And when you reach that level, you won't need to chase connection ever again. Because everywhere you go, people will feel it. They'll feel safe, understood, and drawn to the quiet strength that only comes from one place: your unshakable peace.